Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the. I don't think you're a trader in the making, ma'am. You are a trader. Welcome to your new life. You have no choice. All right. That wasn't a crazy introduction. Somebody said, "Well, I'm still a trader in the making," and I'm like, "No way, man," or woman. Sorry. You are one of us now. You have no choice. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's weekend show here. This is our Broiler Chicken Show. And, as we're sort of getting the video ready, I think all you guys know on YouTube, anybody watching us on YouTube, primarily what I like to do with these weekend shows is it's a back-to-back. Our new school term is up and running, and I have to say I'm overwhelmed because I had really kind of thought that with the crypto market unwinding that frivolity sort of abating, that things like the school and stuff would wind down, just typical market forces. And in come another 100 of you people, just room. So we got another big full class for Grim. They had, I guess about 40 or 50 students in there. So welcome aboard. And really, this Broiler Chicken Show is really like a dovetail for you guys, because I know you're going to be absolutely overwhelmed. Yeah, I'm not allowed to say that, though, unless I'm referencing a perp index, a moon index, or a bull index, right? Then we can say that word on YouTube. But you're right, ma'am. And, as an absolutely beautiful testament to this, Colleen here, I often make reference to her. I've watched her slowly evolve. I think you're one of Da Vinci's gang, aren't you? And go from very timid to, just about 10 minutes before this daily brief, she's in the lounge posting really interesting little, what did we used to call them that was politically correct? Schult coins. Idea going, geez, it's so cheap right now. Look at the location. And yeah, okay, I see the div coming in here. And yeah, okay, do I pull the trigger? There's nice. It's beautiful. Maybe I'll nanny nibble. It's love. She's just a testament to the whole reason why I do this site. And also, too, I have to say, and this is so cool, YouTube's not, they get really angry at you if you broadcast any kind of music that's not sort of like, deemed broadcastable through these things. So before I get the actual public video up and running, we have a whole bunch of people hanging out in the, there's about 10 or 11 people in the hangout with me here. And we were playing Gary Newman's Cars YouTube song for them while I was getting ready. And Daniel posts this pic in the lounge. And it's just so perfect. I got to tell you, I'm so inspired. I'm so... to keep doing this project day in, day out. The irony of it all is I would be sitting in some sort of prop firm chat room, basically having the same conversations with them, or sitting in some brokerage house bullpen, or maybe if you do a big deal for them and bring in a lot of money, corner office, but then you don't get to interact with the people. I actually prefer the bullpen. But anyway, I'd be doing this anywhere, but I see that we are making a positive difference in this space, and in what I would consider a pretty crappy crypto environment, quote unquote, for traders, new people to trading, all that kind of stuff. We're not getting a heck of a lot of trending direction here. So it's a tough market. So to see that you guys continually are coming back to TRI, wanting to learn, you're hearing the message, learning the process, because really that's what this is all about. If you want to consider yourself a trader, is you have to learn the process. Getting schooled up. And actually it was so cool. I think I've kind of told you guys that we have taken the past 2 years since that blow off top in crypto and really put our nose to the grindstone to really build TRI out as a usable platform that people can come and use this information and need this information on a daily basis, what we produce through the platform. And this I like to have this dashboard, and as we sort of build out the site, I often suggest use this dashboard. When I started this conversation a year or two ago with you guys, this dashboard was empty, and slowly it's filling up, and it's getting to the point of almost usable information on a daily basis that I can do stuff off of. But Sjord made a huge leap forward here recently with his screening engine. And keep in mind that we have to pay for data because we are a pay for service. So we can't just go and just, scrape data here, scrape data there. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts involved in all of this. And then, being able to build out screening engines that can produce tradable signals. And I gotta say, man, I am so darn impressed with the job Sjord has done. Gave him a big shout out, hugs and kisses. Just even ran this screen yesterday. And I thought this was, we're starting to integrate crypto into the screener system, and this is Kraken data that he's got in here now. So I was just curious, what does this XDG look like? And I gotta say, I mean, if I was a trader and I wanted to come along and find ideas, this is exactly what, the shopping list. This is the kind of shopping list that I want to be presented on a daily basis. So thank you very much, Sjord. You're making my job a hell of a lot easier. We've got confirmed divergences, and I mean, even here, we've got Willie nice and stupid. So, of course, Brian loves buying oversold markets. We have RSI trending breakouts with W's. We've got just the most insane OBV divergence, and just money is pouring into this thing. I don't even know what the hell these guys do. XDG? Is that Digi? Do you remember Digi? Is that Digicoin? I remember we used to have a guy on the site, Digi. I always used to think that that was his coin. I don't even know what these guys do. All I know is that the engine, I just simply, from a technical perspective, and half of our job is we need to find setups. We have to define exactly what it is that gets us to act. And now Sjord, like I said, taking advantage of the developer cycle is going to make my life a hell of a lot easier, just presenting to me on a daily basis. Oh, here are some names for you to look at, Brian, based on the criteria that you've defined that gets you to act. I'm just tickled pink. Absolutely tickled pink. So not only is our community just rocking, and it's beautiful. I even said earlier, is that Doge? Oh, okay, it is Doge. Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. We've been watching Doge. I picked up a little bit of Doge back down in here, and I kind of fat-fingered the trade, so I haven't really been commenting too much about Doge recently. I still have that long position on. Actually, ironically enough, just purely from a Nanny Nibbles perspective. Somebody was talking about that in the lounge this morning. I mean, I gotta tell you, these are the kind of names where, yeah, you got to be in there. If you don't want to worry about timing your purchases, if you just want to go in when you hit the bottom end of ranges and just go pick up a little bit, especially when you see this kind of OBV. And keep in mind, Doge is going to have all of its, and I'm not quite sure. They canceled the one last year, but I think they said that every 2 years they want to have a Doge conference kind of thing. I don't know if it's going to be in Vancouver again this year, but I got to tell you, money is pouring into this thing, and these Doge kids, they love to pump this thing. So seeing a chart that looks like that right now, that shouldn't surprise anybody at all. Nanny Nibbles coming into the bottom end of range, fine. And now, like I said, the great part about it, and this is what kills me, because, we run another trading plan that's just strictly derivatives related on the site. And I'll just show you just really quickly here. And actually, I don't know. You know what? I won't go into that. This is just supposed to be about crypto. So it's just really cool to see that Sjord has now got crypto signals coming up on the screeners here. And, I mean, this is everything I could have ever hoped for. I'm just so excited. In fact, even I put in the our little team room. The future is so bright. We gotta wear shades because man. Anyway, school's firing. I think I started off on that. Site is being built out. We're taking advantage of this developer cycle. I think through this bear, we held on to our integrity. We held on to our honest, steadfast approach. I told everybody at the top of crypto and when we were melting down that I wasn't going anywhere. I was going to see this right through from beginning to end. And of course, I think we're just getting started on this crazy crypto story. And also, too, I think that a whole new sector of crypto investing has opened up in this idea of investing in companies that either are in the blockchain business, things like mining, companies, or companies that are using blockchain to leverage profits, like Tim Draper's what's his crazy little company called? Somebody banged out a big win on that recently. Rebonds, was it Rebonds? I think that's what it was. Anyway, you guys in the lounge, you guys in RBZ, I think it was. So that's and then there's also RBZ, yeah, that's what it was. So that's an example of a company that's going to use blockchain, if I'm not mistaken, to create a bulletproof provenance for the collectors. I don't know, what do you call that? Antique industry, right? There's a company that I'm really interested, SI, Silvergate. They are a bank. Oh no, you're buying banks? Oh, but they're specifically a bank built for the crypto industry, and that's what their mandate is to be the banking facilitator for the crypto industry. And of course, there's a whole bunch of little sort of spin-off little spec plays. There was somebody on the YouTube page who asked me to review a little bulletin board stock. I gave, you can go back and look through the reviews. I didn't give a stellar review of the company, but ironically enough, I could actually see the stock do relatively well, just given crypto seasonalities. And you guys are actually going to see now, hopefully, that this whole space sort of moves in unison if you haven't seen that before. So, if we get a lot of inertia behind Bitcoin halvenings, Ethereum's got new platforms and software, and, Charlie Lee says, maybe I'm going to go buy some Litecoin, and it starts taking off, and, all these different various stories. Amanda comes out of the woodwork. Wouldn't we love to see her again? Maybe that's one reason why Dash took off here. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen with that crazy Craig Wright guy. And it was kind of interesting through the week. We got word that he did receive his 1 million Bitcoins or whatever. And then later on in the week, there was news. No, he didn't. So that soap opera is going on. So lots of moving parts in crypto. I think it's actually a pretty exciting environment right now. And congratulations to all of you crypto enthusiasts for not blowing yourself up. There's a reason why we have these sort of nanny nibble little old lady kind of approaches where, it's really easy at the top of markets to just go all in on this coin. And, if it goes under, you're toast. So congratulations on surviving. And I like the prospects of crypto going forward here. Like I said, from a number of different angles. Also, too, and actually already in the trenches, I'm playing crypto through the options market on Deribit, and I'll probably transition over to taking a real good look at those CME contracts now that we have exchange-listed data on options. So, man, there's so many different ways to play this crypto market now. Lots and lots of fun. So as I had sort of start off this broadcast today, really proud of the TRI community. We have multiple different angles to attack this market. Whether you're just a trader, and you're just like, you know what, I just want a list of ideas that are setting up based on my criteria in my inbox first thing in the morning. We've got that up and running. If you're totally brand new to this and you want a good foundation to learn the process, we're here to run small businesses of trading. We've got the school just rocking and rolling with such a huge, robust staff. I mean, what's weird is I never figured at the beginning of this that, and it's something that kind of scares me a little bit on a day-to-day basis, but I mean, gee whiz, we've probably got a staff of a good 10, 15 members of our team now. So lots and lots of support, and as I had sort of said to begin this, guys, sorry I'm rambling here a little bit. This Sunday show is to dovetail with the class you guys just all had, and I saw Grim did a great job. Lots of accolades from the students, starting everybody off on a strong footing. This Sunday Broiler Chicken Show is a dovetail. So if you do have questions, I would encourage all of you to come right on into the Hangout. And in previous terms, a lot of people just simply jumped out of class and right into the Broiler Chickens Hangout and just continue your learning. And if you have questions, Graham asked, tried to answer this, but I didn't quite understand. Can you just sort of expound on that? Especially this coming week, all level oneers, because we have to attack, strategic vision. So that's that whole sort of big picture, Pluto, Saturn crosses, Jupiter, Saturn crosses, demographics. What the hell's the difference between a bond and a commodity? Where does crypto fit in all this universe? So you've got a very, very steep learning curve week ahead of you. So if anything, not only get your questions ready for this coming Sunday's class, but also, get those questions ready for this Broiler Chicken Show too. Because I know that these are some pretty big concepts coming up, and the whole purpose of this is to make sure you guys understand this, and so that's why I sort of did this dovetail. All right, everybody on YouTube's going, yeah, this sucks, man. I know you like talking to the students, but when are you going to talk to us? You guys understand this? Hi, you guys over there. I sure hope that YouTube video didn't record both all along. That would really suck. Okay, there you guys over there are over on YouTube. Hi, Omar. Hi, Nick. Mr. Hashim. Hello, Mr. Hashim. Miguel. Mr. Hashim says, hey, Brian, do you have any good source for Willie? I want to learn it deep. Well, the funny thing is, I mean, first and foremost, the Willie term, that's a little bit loose. So, yeah. Oh, hey, you know what? I mean, one guy, I can't believe Chris... I don't think you have a microphone on, but I was so pleased that one gentleman who actually came to the TRI, and I got to show you, I still have your little gift that you gave me before you left Vancouver. Do you remember that? I still have it here on my desk. I haven't even touched it. But I'm so pleased to see Chris on the site. And actually, he ponied up and he's like, screw it, I'll do the goddamn school. So, it's great to see you again here, Chris. Oh, I'm so pleased to see you. And I'm still keeping an eye out for real estate on Vancouver Island. What do we need about, what, 10 acres, 20 acres? What's the size? I'll keep my eyes out, especially over the next 10, 15 years. We should get some really juicy bankruptcies here. So there's probably going to be properties opened up. So let me know how many acres you want, right? So great to see you again, dude. It was so nice hanging out with you guys. Yeah, I know. Zoknix? I have no idea how I'm supposed to pronounce your name. Somebody, I had that damn logarithmic curve chart on my screen for the longest time, and then I had to go reboot my computer, and I lost the damn chart. And every single day I get up and I look at this chart, and I go, okay, no, which one is it? This one. I go, okay, today is when I'm going to replicate that logarithmic growth curve and add it to this matrix. And every day I forget to do it, so I'm sorry. Zuckmix. I don't have that study up on the screen today, but I am quite shocked that Fit B guys bottom curve, the market came down and actually tagged that curve twice and has bounced off of it. I mean, it's just absolutely sick. Well, if you got the link, throw the link on there on the YouTube page, and I'll just click on it and I'll load it up here and I'll just comment if you want. Somebody asked here, what was that about Willie? Well, the Willie indicator is, hey, there you are. Hey, dude, if you got that, I've been meaning to get you on the damn show forever. So Phil B, and the anybody watching this YouTube show later on, I just made reference to him, and he goes, "I'm lurking here." That's great. Well, I hope you realize. I mean, I have said on a number of occasions, I was very, very impressed with that study of yours. Damn, that was cool stuff. So, damn impressive. Okay, I've been blabbing away here, and I know a lot of people are probably like, "This is why I hate this guy." Look at that! Somebody's already downvoted me because he doesn't, why he goes. But I wanted to answer this person's question and then I'll get on to the charts. So Mr. Hashem asks, well, I mean Willie indicator. Just understand, Willie indicator is nothing more than a heavily modified Williams percentage R. It's not something that anybody in the public has ever talked about, and you're never going to find anybody in the public who ever talks about it, right? Why? Because it's a funny little indicator Brian built on his own. So it is an integral part, of course, of our education program and the various different ways that I use Willie to thank you, Peter. Peter just said that, oh, and I suppose we're supposed to do that, right? Everybody in unison, there's 53 people watching now. I do see there's a number of people that already liked it, so that's good. But everybody, could you please, if you like what Brian's rants, if you don't, then, this is asking for trouble. I'm not allowed to say this. Just if you like the video, just hit the upvote, the ring Colleen's bell, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm supposed to say that on YouTube, but I forget to. So just to finish that point, Mr. Hashem, and I think what you're speaking about is like on a typical sort of chart that I show to the public, and often these days I've been overlapping RSI and Willie together just because lack of space. But quite often you'll probably see a chart from me that looks something like that, and it has this Willie 21 MA 13. Is that what you're talking about? Smash it! Thank you, Heinz. Where are you, Mr. Hashem? Is that what you're talking about? This right here, Willie? If that's the case, then yeah, this is an indicator that I built myself. And I just simply needed a tool to try and tell me when the market's overbought or oversold. And it works really well to facilitate that need. And as you can see off of the daily chart on Bitcoin, are we overbought or are we oversold? Very simply put, we are officially overbought. Anytime the Willie indicator gets above 20, and it's really minus 20, that to me says that this market's gone too far. Now the problem here, of course, is that this is a price momentum oscillator. So you have to understand the nuances behind price momentum oscillators. And if you don't, well, be careful. I actually see a lot of new people to trading, which is kind of humorous. But they'll say to me something like, yeah, I know, Brian. And actually, maybe I'll do a new chart just to show you because it's kind of funny. Let's just throw up here, and we'll put away all this, and then we'll go new pane below, something like that. So a lot of new people, and when I was new to trading, I ran into this trap. But they'll say to me, Brian, I know you want 3 reasons to trade. So I've got a buy signal on MACD, Williams percentage R, maybe Willie, whatever, and RSI. There's my 3 reasons. But ironically enough, actually, that's only one reason. Why? Because all of these indicators are actually measuring exactly the same thing, just doing it slightly differently. And the problem here, now there's a difference, right? Something like a MACD indicator is just simply, especially like a histogram, but the MACD itself is just simply one moving average minus another moving average. So you can't really have extremes, right? I mean, the moving averages can keep just separating indefinitely. We often see that. So, and then conversely, let's get into a bear market and the market just collapses. Well, those moving averages can keep separating it, forever. So, technically not forever. If it goes to zero, then, that's that. But the point being that we can't call an indicator like MACD technically, textbook wise, can't really call it an oscillator. I mean, yes, it does oscillate from extremes, but there is no maximum extreme on something like a MACD or a MACD histogram. So whereas something like a Williams percentage R or a relative strength index, these are what we call oscillators because they oscillate back and forth between defined extremes. They can only go, like in Willie's case, you can only go to zero or zero. I mean, that should be the extreme. And then you can only go to minus 100, right? I mean, that's as far as it can go. So, and then same thing with RSI. You can only go to 100 and you can only go to 0. So they do have extremes. The point that I'm trying to make here, and it's a subtle difference that I just have to make sure that when we mention MACD, yes, it is a price momentum indicator, but there is subtle differences between something like a MACD and a classic oscillator. So the point here is that oscillators act differently given different market states. And actually, I think I had even a more advanced student even ask about this recently. You can actually measure the strength or weakness of a trend based on the amount of time that an oscillator spends in overbought or oversold zones. And is that time period expanding, getting longer, or contracting? And an oscillator sitting in an extreme zone is actually, for a prolonged period of time, is actually an extremely powerful trending market state signal. What we call embeddedness. So there's a whole bunch of subtleties around using price momentum oscillators. So you're getting kind of a private tutorial here today, Mr. Hashem. I bet you didn't expect that. And you have to be careful with using them, right? First and foremost, you have to look at the oscillator and ask, what's the message that it's telling me? And quite often with oscillators, it's just simply a question of, is the oscillator above the 50 line or below the 50 line or midpoint, right? In Williams percentage R, it's minus 50. But the point being that the oscillator unto itself, given where it is, what the market state is, where it is and how it's acting, will tell you a lot about market state. As I just sort of said earlier, the out-of-the-box textbook definition, Williams percentage R acts very similar to the stochastic oscillator, and the construction of how it determines overbought or oversold is all based on the principle of linear regression. So, percentage R, right? That's the whole point of the study. So, whereas relative strength index works on a little different perspective, it just simply asks where is price relative to whatever the reporting period is, and gives it an index reading. So, if you have, for example, RSI, if you have a whole bunch of periods where we're just going one direction, after 14 periods, it's going to look back and say, well, this bar relative to all of these bars is higher, so it gets a high score. So there's slightly different ways of calculating oscillators, and so it is a sort of core component of the education program to go through and sort of dissect. Number one, what is the job of the oscillator, and then number two, because I like to use this thing called the Willy to tell me about overbought, oversold. Why did I create it? Why did I create it? What was the purpose of it? How do I use it? And it is a big part of our course. So I'm not going to. Marcelinus asks, can you go through the mathematics of calculating? We can spend probably about 2 or 3 hours, and actually we do in our level 2 program. I'm a really big fan. I don't know whether, and this is where Sjord gets really upset with me. I don't know whether it's actually a public document, but I got this document, How to Spot Profitable Timing Signals. I got this I actually have the hard copy of it on my desk right here, right in front of me. Interestingly enough, Commodity Research Bureau, they went out of business about 15, 20 years ago. So it's almost funny, and I don't even know who these guys are. Pricegroup.com, maybe that's their latest one. I just Googled this, and it was just a PDF, so do that on your own. Like I said, CRB, they've gone out of business years and years and years ago. I don't know, and look at this, trends in futures. I don't know who these people are, but like I said, I got this document forever ago, and as opposed to on a YouTube video, me trying to, and Google it, right? So it's out there on the net. Rather than me try and sit here on a YouTube video and explain the math of how things like RSI and stuff work, because frankly speaking, it's a lot of math, right? I would highly recommend that you just look into, and like I said, How to Spot Profitable Timing Signals. This document's been around forever. It is sort of a core sort of reference manual in our education program. And they will walk through all the math of how to calculate our RSI studies manually. Keep in mind, this is from the days when we used to get our price charts in the mail. And I used to have to actually, and I try, to actually update my RSI studies every single day with the new price bars on the tissue paper charts. So, please understand. If you want to, I would much rather I just download that job of explaining things like RSI, and then they go through stochastics, how to calculate stochastic. And remember, like I said, stochastic and Williams percentage R are basically drawn off the same math. So if you can understand stochastic, then you can understand Williams percentage R. And really, the interesting thing is you only actually really understand the subtle differences between these two oscillation measuring techniques by forcing yourself to actually go through and learn the math on your own. So that's my answer to you. I'm sorry, Marcelinus. I'm not going to go through the whole math of how Williams percentage R and stochastic versus RSI is calculated, because it's just far too deep of a conversation for a YouTube video here, okay? Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. And that's and for whatever it's worth, students of the program, I basically say, you know what, you want to learn this? Get to work and then read this. Try and go through a couple examples, and then come to me and talk to me about what you found on your own. So I do the same thing to students too. I don't let them get off easy. I mean, you want to learn this, you got to do the work. And these guys, I think, have done the absolute best job explaining this. And this document, like I said, was written probably, I don't know, 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago. A long, 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 long time ago. So anyway, that's my answer to you. All right. I did see very briefly somebody asked above if the school program was still available. I do know that we snuck somebody in very last minute. Who was that? Cheryl Ann. You can. It's kind of breaking the rules, Cheryl. I mean, I really don't like. They've already had their introductory class, but if you email support at therationalinvestor.com, or I guess admin at therationalinvestor.com, and really sugarcoat your request. I think Julian will probably be able to help you out, okay? I'll leave it at that. Okay. I think probably what I'll just do here for this free video, like I said, level oneers, you have an open book here. If you need to ask a question or anything, I know it's just the introductory week, so there's a lot of just sort of getting set up on the site. But if you have questions, please ask, okay, guys? I don't know, do we have any level oneers? I guess, Chris, you're here now. But do we have any other level oneers on the class? Heinz, are you in the level one program? You look kind of familiar on the site. All right, well, I don't see anything. Okay, so what does that say? Level oneer. All right, well, if you have any questions, that's half of what this job was to do here. Quick booth through the Twitter feed. Talk a little bit about what's happened over the past week or two, just tweet-wise. I can't remember the last time we actually looked at one of these things on one of these Broiler Chicken Show. My goodness, there's some pretty crazy-ass shit going on in this world, eh? How ironic. I find it so incredible how the table, and I don't know, is it part of that Pluto-Saturn cross shit? But how the tables have turned on the guys in charge of Iran, and how an event that should have coalesced the whole country to go to war against the United States quickly turned around and blew up in their faces. This is a great commentary on you cannot, number one, don't try to predict the future. It's impossible. And then number two, you can't write better fiction than reality. I bet you if you sat down with 100 people and said, okay, draw up a scenario the Americans knocking off one of their chief military people, and how is it going to play out? It's just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, absolutely remarkable. Oh, okay. So actually, Shane, one of our OGs, he was the one who actually told me about Pluto-Saturn crosses. And he and I have a little trading plan running on Deribit with the Ethereum call options. I still haven't gotten word back whether we got filled on a sell, half on a double on those options. So let me know what happened there if you're watching later on, Shane. He's in the middle of building out this cool truck where he's turning it into a crypto mining rig, right? And he's going to drive it all over the world mining crypto on the road. Good luck, Shane. May the force be with you. I was really surprised about this, but it was really interesting to see how Litecoin jumped up quite a bit here recently. But even, this is the great sort of 1 + 1 = 3 kind of idea. People on the site, I'd been talking about this. I found one company that their average cost to mine Bitcoin was, or Litecoin was $100, and I was like, wow, why are you mining? Turn the machines off. It's interesting. The community here helped me find this. Even the cost of production here for Litecoin, I think Litecoin is still underneath this price. So here's a great example. I always say, if you're going to invest in a commodity, try and buy at or below the cost of production, because basically you're getting it in on the asset at a discount. So I still, as long as Litecoin is trading below that cost of production number, I still think it's undervalued from a fundamental perspective. Imagine that. And actually it's interesting. Never did hear back from Charlie. I don't know if anybody's actually heard from Charlie or not. We should find out if he's long. Again, same sort of thing. Man, this Chinese situation is getting just crazy in Hong Kong. My heart goes out to all you people. Hang in there. I know a lot of people in the West say, "Hey, look at our media is filtered, and we're not really seeing the true story." But this kind of stuff in a totalitarian dictatorship doesn't surprise me. And this is why the kind of thing, some people are like, "Oh, you don't need freedom of speech. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about freedom of speech. It's not that important. Fuck you." Uh, you know, this is the ugly part of this world that I hate. And unfortunately, me talking about this on YouTube, I'm probably painting a goddamn bullseye across my back, with these people. But please, world, can we go back to getting blowjobs in the White House? Man, I remember those fun days. I'm just kidding. That was a bad line. I'm sorry. Man, everybody, maybe you ought to look into green tea. Jesus. I've never really been a fan of drinking green tea, but 20%. And now I'm getting old. I watched a video today that said I am now at, within the next 4 months, the highest probability of committing suicide. I am right in that sweet spot. This is the absolute worst time to be alive for a white male Caucasian in our society. Yay! So I have to start thinking about this kind of stuff. You young people, thank heavens you don't have to worry about that stuff now. As I said, I'm going to be watching CME options pretty closely now. So super excited to see that. I was wondering whether this was going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. I still, to a certain degree, kind of feel like that. When we get to the Bitcoin chart, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I wonder. And I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the activity because actually, if you look at Bitcoin price right now, we're actually at exactly where higher ups looking at the big charts are going to say, well, this is where I want to be long or short. Whoops, did I say long? Short. So, what a coincidence. This is all happening right around that window in price. I don't know how to actually interpret this person's study. I thought it was super cool. But if somebody on the site or anybody watching in YouTube can actually say, oh, well, Brian, buy when you get red, green, orange, or when you get orange, orange, green, or when you get green, orange, yellow, or something. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I'm not quite sure how a trader actually uses this. And remember, I'm an old man and I'm stupid. So, if you're like, Brian, it's really obvious. Just do this, this, and this. Okay, cool. But it's a different perspective. So I was like, thank you very much for this information. This is something for us to think about. I'm not quite sure what it means, but it's kind of cool looking at all the pretty colors. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said I really like the idea of investing in companies that and keep in mind, there's many different angles. There are the miners. There are the people that are going to use blockchain to create profit efficiencies and grow profits, steal market share from inefficient operators. Here's an example of this guy is quite a character. Mike Novogratz. You've probably heard of him before. It's funny. At the top of the market, these guys are all put on pedestals and everybody loves them. You don't hear anybody interviewing Mike Novogratz about, the guy who walks on water now. I'm sure he does walk on water, but that's here nor there. But what I like to do is I like to try and build sort of proxies. I mean, you could have basically ridden Jeff Bezos' coattails for the past 10, 20 years if you wanted to, just going and grabbing some Amazon. Just saying, if Bezos wins, I win because I'm long him. Well, this is the same sort of thing. I have no idea what the guy's up to, whether, he's going to make $1 million, whether, in his videos, he's very elusive about his trading. I'm sure he's a very wise gentleman. But to me, this is the kind of idea where I can actually define my risk. I can go in and say, all right, I'll take a shot off you, Mr. Novogratz. I'll buy here at $1.25. And I'll basically risk down to 90 cents. And this is an interesting level, too, for a lot of stocks. This guy, I think he's still on the venture exchange, but a lot of these, and actually we're having a lot of fun educating the TRI SOFers right now because they're playing the penny stock market. New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, that kind of thing. But a lot of exchanges have sort of big no-nos. You're not allowed to let your stock go below $1. So in a weird sort of way, you actually have a little bit of a buffer because the company itself has a vested interest to keep the damn stock above $1. Now, exchanges, they'll let panic dump selling, let the asset, briefly trade below, big oscillating numbers like $1 here. But if your stock is below that level for a certain amount of days, the exchange starts going rant, 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 rant. Kind of like Trex and all that kind of nonsense, eh? So in a weird sort of way, you kind of have a built-in buffer. And also, too, technically speaking, you should look at this and go, okay, well, we're at the bottom end of ranges. Divergences are starting to confirm, and gee whiz, here comes W's in price. So, needless to say, through the tax loss selling season, this is where I want to start accumulating this kind of stuff. And then, of course, when I start seeing the technical setups start coming in, W's, all that kind of stuff, I just go and add to the trade. So, good looking charts here. This is such an interesting commentary. Nobody can predict the future. I'm not here to predict what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. We're odds makers. It's kind of like you see you go out on the track and you see a horse stuttering and falling down. Well, maybe I'm not going to bet on that horse. You see another horse that's all piss and vinegar and running laps around everybody else. Well, maybe I'm going to bet on that one. That's kind of what we do as technicians. I mean, judge the quality of the management team behind your idea and then, try and time your purchases, When do you see that horse just getting ready to rock and roll? Anyway, point of the matter here is this is just an interesting sort of overall conversation about sort of market capitalization. And I love this because in these free videos, I go, I can't remember what the heck these things are. And so somebody on the site goes, well, Brian. And he actually spelled out the definition. So now on my chart, I have no choice. Where is it? I have it right on here. Total is total market cap. Everything. Total 2 is everything without Bitcoin. So I have no excuses now, and there's a great part about it. Thank you, TRIers, for helping me understand this stuff. This is, that was the tweet that I was showing you earlier. This is the actual chart. I just happen to see a lot of similarities, sort of, rolling over top as we're coming into the end of the year. Total to everything, they're just throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. And then, nice saucer bottoms. I think I had made reference. I really like when you get these really crisp, sharp W's. And you can see it on both of these here. And that sort of led to bigger W's coming in and, of course, our bull market. I don't know whether we have these wide W's painting this base like we had last year. We have not, we've made lower lows here. So that is different. I'm going to concede that. And if anything, what I'm kind of thinking here, and I kind of see this on Bitcoin price too, is this really looks very head and shoulders-y. I don't know, maybe these indexes have to come back down and sort of play around like that a bit. But can you guys kind of see that head and shoulders kind of thinking? It almost looks like this is some sort of significant neckline there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking this go round looks like. I'm not quite sure. It's really interesting to watch the dominance here, right? Because check this out. You can see that we came right down. I know a lot of people were like, hey, we're losing moving averages. Things are rolling over here. But I don't know. I mean, look at that fight right there. I don't know whether we're quite ready to go. I don't even know if you can trade this or not. But I definitely think the sort of structural signal is like right there. And probably if you drew a cute little trend line, right? The big signal, oh my goodness, right, is right there. So, right back down against the bottom end of the range, eh? We might find a little bit of back and forth here, right? This may not be done this fight yet. For me to have gone, this is a fail. It's top. Notice like this M top. Bang! See you later. I am an M. I'm in there now. And then here, same thing. Bang! I am now an M. If this was a big M, we should have seen bang! See you later. But you can see they went bang and somebody said stop. So I don't know. I don't know whether this is done yet or not. That's going to be an interesting battle. It'd actually be interesting. Let's. I don't know. Do you want to take this conversation any further? Should we move on to just the corn? I don't know. How long have I been blabbing away here? Are you guys enjoying this? I don't. I've been just looking at the chart, talking out loud. I don't even know if anybody's even saying anything. Yeah, that's right, Andre. That was a no. Not so damn fast. That's good. At least somebody's listening to all my crazy rants. What are you guys doing over here? Damn, got kicked after I plugged in my headphones. Actually, I saw somebody else's. I think Julian was making reference to that. And also Kevin too. There's some sort of funny bug. I've seen that happen a few times, Chris. So just be aware of that. Bob T says, "Great stuff, Brad. Keep going." All right, okay. I was thinking maybe it might be fun to actually pull up like momentum indicators and stuff off of this. Let's see what it had to say. I put a message to Sjord this morning. Hugs and kisses. Thank you. Oh my God. Sjord's gonna make us richer than stink. Thank you, Sjord. Love you, babe. Okay, how the hell does this work? Oh, there it is. All right, let's see if we can get like momentum and stuff on this. Okay, well, that's not bad. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm not even quite sure. Crypto Cap, does somebody actually create this index? I don't know. Now this is interesting. Look at this. Wow, what a fight here, right? Somebody is really, really does not want. And actually, this is such an interesting story here. This is like technical analysis, more advanced, I think. This is tricky, right? So notice that really what happened here, and you see this quite often, right, is what's the best way to show you? Probably something like that. Market breaks out. You hear Brian say like higher highs and higher lows defines a bull. Right, so market breaks out. And again, I don't know if somebody's actually trading this or whether it's calculated off of, some sort of algorithm or something. So be careful with this analysis. This might be just sort of like a manufactured data print. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is this was a pretty significant breakout. And there's a whole bunch of people with, buy orders sitting here, right? And then the market comes working its way down. And notice as it's working its way down, it just starts making tails. And you can kind of see that the market's just running out of sellers. They keep pushing it, keep pushing it, keep pushing it. And notice the MACD histogram starts painting higher lows. A little bit of divergence, right? And then we just take off. Vroom! So this level right in here becomes pretty important. That's that sort of, supply and demand dynamic change on the way up, right? Demand was overwhelming supply, and then for some reason supply overwhelmed. So you can see the really important dynamic level right in here. Same thing happened here. They brought her back down, right? And the supply-demand dynamic changed right in here. So this is a pretty important little level right in there. So, when I saw this looking back here, I look back at this and I go, oh, okay, so this kind of makes sense. I would even say that probably like the higher ups, institutional players and stuff, they're probably watching this from a line chart, kind of what I showed you earlier, right? And they're watching, how does she act right in here, right off of that, because that'll basically be a new structural level there, right? But remember, the last big demand battle fight was right here. So this creates this funny little air pocket here, right? Where, people pulling up the chart, they're going to go, oh my God, look at that M, I got to go short. But what they don't realize is that there's this funny little cheeky window right in here, right? Previous lows, previous highs. In fact, actually, we can even move that up a little higher there, right? See that? So again, kind of what I said earlier, this is funny here. And I don't think we're done this range battle yet. But, I to be perfectly honest with you, I don't understand the math behind this. I don't know whether it's a manufactured index, whether it actually is something that's being traded. I will say, actually, this is interesting. You can see the bears, they really came awake here. And they really pressed this thing down. You actually, if this is a lower low, you actually have a sign of a bit of a divergence there, because look at somebody. I mean, there is a lot of activity right at this level. So, and actually, what this kind of reminds me of is what I'm thinking here, which is kind of cheeky, and I see it happen a lot in crypto, is there, and this is just one, right? There are names that just popped violently. Now, was this a pump? I don't know. But remember, like these kind of guys, they buy down here, spending Bitcoins. Then are they selling up into here? That means they're buying Bitcoins. And then everybody's kind of like, well, that's weird. Bitcoin just shit the bed. Why? I get this sneaky suspicion, and I've seen this happen in crypto before, where you get some of these names that run up. Where's probably, like Dash, for example. I don't know whether you're trading Bitcoin Dash. I mean, you can see a lot of these names have popped. And I wonder whether, a lot of people are trading these versus Bitcoin, and they had really nice rallies. The market becomes extremely heavy long Bitcoins, and the reason why we saw that dump overnight was people liquidating and taking profits, actually selling and converting those profits into cash. So that might explain to a certain degree what I'm seeing here on this dominance. I don't know. I know there's a lot of coins that look like they're bottoming, and they look like really, really interesting risk reward levels. I really think it's a good idea to look at your coin versus USD, not BTC alone, because I think the BTC picture could muddle things a little bit. But I would like to believe that that Bitcoin's done and all coins are going to rock and roll, but I don't think this fight is over here yet. And what I did notice when I looked at that just very briefly with the indicators is, well, that's not the one I wanted. Was yeah, look at this little RSI, you cheeky little son of a gun. So, and actually, this is a really good tutorial, and actually I was posting this on the site over the past couple days. Is I did a tutorial walkthrough, but I don't know where the hell I put it, on using RSI on to sort of gauge this sort of maturity of the move. The question is, where the hell's the damn chart? Was it here? Oops. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Ah, darn. It was such a cool chart, too. That's half the problem with having too many of these damn charts up. Fudge. Maybe it was over here. Yeah, there it is. Cool. So, if you're using RSI, It's funny because I used to trade with RSI back in the 90s, a long time ago. And this is the way that I used to use it. I moved away from using RSI because I found that it changes its behavior given different market states. And I went through a whole exercise on the TRI website recently, going through this whole sort of analysis process. And then Bitcoin's market state changes, and then you can't use RSI because the whole behavior of RSI changes. So that was the one reason why I left using RSI years and years ago. But this is a pretty good little simple sort of rule of thumb. And hopefully you can see here, in this particular case, RSI is trending down, right? We're going lower. So we'll sort of start it with RSI is heading lower. So the first W that you see in RSI, this event right here actually stops this down move, right? First W stops the bear. Then the next W that you see in RSI, it actually starts the bull. And ideally, you want that second W to come in on a resolution of the 50 line. Remember I had said earlier, using the 50 line with price momentum oscillators is really an awesome, simple way to use this tool. Am I a bull? Am I above 50? Am I a bear below 50? If you can get that second W to come in through the 50 line, oh my God, super powerful signal. And this is the great way to use RSI, is that if you get a third W, in this case really steep, this little W action in here, I paint this third W as the trap. And of course, overbought, oversold. RSI gets above 70 reading. That technically is overbought. So really shouldn't surprise us that we're going to get those traps, sort of last W's to come in as the market's getting overbought. And then you just do the whole process going the other direction, right? You could have done 1 W, 2 W's, bull. So this guy never did get a trap, but you can see the M came in, stopped the bull. So 1 M, then 2 M's, bear, etc., etc., etc. Well, we could. I mean, I like to use the OBV. But if I'm not mistaken, MFI is what, RSI on OBV? Or RSI on something, eh? I can't remember the definition off the top of my head, but I could. Somebody asked, well, why can you use the money flow index? And yeah, you could. Anyway, so the point of the matter here is we just got an M that came in on the corn here. So the way that I'm interpreting this now is we just stop the bull, and of course that was the trap W, so it shouldn't surprise us that the trap, the public, the late buyers, they're coming in and getting beat up here. And really one might argue that if we get another W that comes in here, all right, well, we can go back into sort of that trappy kind of thing, because remember our big 50 line W came in way down here. And, guys like Julian, they love to draw like RSI trend lines. And I might argue that really the basic trend in RSI, and I'd actually like to see it come all the way down here and actually put in a nice W off of that 50 line again somewhere down here. That's what I'd like to see. But, of course, short-term bulls don't say that. What are you, crazy? So the point of the matter here now is I would just say the bull is on pause, but the bear hasn't really taken over yet. So really interesting anecdote. That's on Bitcoin as we speak right now. And of course, I think it should make sense. You can see there is the first W that comes in over here, right? And that paints divergence. Brian, 3 reasons for a trade. We've got green boxes, so that's location. Now you get signs of divergence, right? Now all we need is some sort of price structure. There's the big fat W. I remember I walked you guys through this trade, and then we had the Wyckoff check. You guys all remember that? And gee whiz, here we come up into Mountain Man levels, 200 period moving average. We talked lots about that. And interesting, on that event, in comes the first M that stops the bull. So I think right now, the bull's on pause. I don't think the bear's taken over, but the bull's just sort of going, okay, let's cool our jets. And the sad part about it, of course, is who do you think was coming in and buying up here? Hopefully, after a while, you guys start seeing this repetitive behavior. It's not an accident. When did the public start talking about moon? I saw over the last weekend, everybody's getting all moon, 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 moon. And I started, the worst part about it is I started seeing, like, well, this bull run is not going to hit 1 million, but it's pretty good odds we're going to hit $85,000 a Bitcoin. It's like, oh no, shut up. And I hadn't seen that kind of talk in a while. They're like, hey, yeah, we're going to comfortably hit 100,000 this cycle, no problem. And it's like, oh no. Okay, well, that's good to hear, Peter. As long as you're working with a plan, that's the only thing that matters, right? Because the whole point is the plan was to try and help you relieve anxiety, help you make clear decisions, and then, of course, we can only measure how good of a trader we are based on how well we follow our plan. And, the irony of it all is a lot of people, they come to Bitcoin, they come to crypto, they come to futures trading, right? They come to, hey, I'm going to be a options derivative specialist with no plan. Well, I just inherited $5,000 from Uncle Joe who died, and I'm a soybean bull now. Go long! Throw all $5,000 at the soybeans market. I don't care, just buy it because I know it's going up. And it goes down, and see ya. That was nice knowing you. So, if you did take some profits into that event, way to go. If you're holding out for higher levels and you're like, well, my plan is to buy W's and only sell at 2 to 1s, okay, fine. Just you got to live with your goddamn plan. I was putting tweets out earlier this week just simply saying, well, it shouldn't surprise us that we're running into resistance here. Right? And I think I've talked to you guys in the public about, I think it's, no, not that one. I guess it's this one, right? This 3-chart matrix. What I thought was so cool about this, and you don't see this every day, but not only was this 200 period, and what a coincidence, eh? The market just stalls as soon as Bitcoin hits its 200 period moving average. Doink. But I thought this was really interesting if we change these to weekly charts. I'm a really big fan of following the weekly 13 EMA and weekly 30 SMA relationship to try and tell us not only about support and resistance, because I think 13 EMAs work really great for short-term support and resistance, and I think 30 SMA works really great for sort of medium-term support and resistance, but also, too, the relationship of them. Is the fast-moving average above the slow-moving average? Bullish. Is the fast-moving average below the slow-moving average? Bearish. So, I've been talking to you guys in the public about this for quite some time. And look what happened there on that weekly chart. Right into that smackaroony, see you later. I mean, that's just stunning when you see that. And then, if we go back to the daily chart, like I said, very rarely do we see, but if you think about it, right, 200 days, 30 weeks, well, what is 200 days divided by 7? Well, it's 210, right? Would be like 30. So it shouldn't surprise us that 200 period daily moving average and the 30 period weekly moving average, try saying that 10 times fast, happen to align here, but wow, what a rejection. If you aren't familiar with how moving averages act, take a screenshot of that. That was a very, very good lesson in the power of the 200 period moving average. And what's really sad about this is you often see this, right, is that they'll just sneak the market higher. And that's when that $100,000 Bitcoin crap all comes out. And man. And then out of nowhere, kablamo. But the long and short of it here is, should any of us really been net buyers of Bitcoins? I mean, maybe you could have hunted a little setup in here and said, well, Brian, that's an inside bar and I'm going to go long on a break above that. All right, fine. Well, you just got politely told you were wrong. I might argue that going long on an initial tag of a mountain man level is extremely dangerous. Also too, that's not a good sign. The slope of the 200 period moving average is, what's TS saying over there? I'm on a little delay. The dominance chart has calculated by TradingView. I'm guessing they are taking total 2 and dividing it by total or something like that. Yeah. I'm not trading that total. I just like to listen to sort of the market's message. I don't even know if you can trade it or not. But I think there's a valuable message in there that we're still in that trading range and there's a real fight at the bottom of that range, TS. That's sort of the message that I got out of that. And then sort of thinking about, wow, they sure pumped a lot of these altcoins. Remember that shitcoin perp index that we were looking at? I don't know whether you guys watch the Daily Brief recaps. But we show you... did I get rid of it? Usually on the Daily Brief recaps, I show you that little shit perp index. And those things were like going straight up. Now, how do those things go straight up? Well, the only way they can go straight up is if, they're pumping some of the shitcoins. Actually, I guess I have it over here, right? This here. So my thinking, and keep in mind, like here, Bidrix Schalt, this is in BTC. Look how they pump these things, right? And if you look at these shit, perp, shit, moon, shit, bullshit, all that kind of stuff. My thinking here is that this was maybe a little too far too fast. And I think that they took some profits in Bitcoins, and that's why you saw that wicked dump in Bitcoin last night, was that they were cashing out and taking profits. But that's just me, Brian, tinfoil hats, all that kind of talk. Okay, where the hell was I? I was talking about something. Once upon a time. In a land far, far away. All right, so I was talking about something, but then I got distracted, so I can't remember where I was. So I'm just going to sort of pick back up here. A couple other things jumped out at me. Remember I had said earlier I was still muttering, musing, thinking about that options listing on the CME? And lo and behold, hopefully everybody can see this. Can you see the big M that was put in price back here on the failure of, what is that? Basically about 9,200 or so. So, and I had sort of made reference to this earlier. If I was an institutional player and I was looking at this and I wanted, maybe I don't like crypto kids, and I think that this is all full of horse hockey. I'm not saying anything, just I'm putting myself into a guy who's taking a bearish stance. I don't know whether I'd be really too excited about shorting down here, especially green boxes. But I'll tell you, if they did bring the market back up into this original top, well, now I can actually start seriously thinking about strapping on shorts, playing. This is a massive range, don't get me wrong, but there is the M. M's are M's are M's. And I thought it was fascinating that off of that original fail level, this was also that M, right? So you could even make an argument just off of this range. If I wanted to short the original market structure top, remember that dotted line is the bigger, higher time frame fail level. That also just so happens to be this lower time frame M level. And then, as I said just a few minutes ago, 200 period moving average, doink, rejection. Top of value, Colleen's favorite level. Little muak in the profile. Ironically enough, with this wick, I don't think we're done here. There's definitely a lot more play to go here. So could they fill this profile in a little bit more up top here? Sure. But when you look at this chart, and this is really my job here for the universe, is I got to get this message across to everybody. You should look at this chart and go, green boxes, I can understand being buyer. And you can even see right now, I've even got a new green box just sitting there, that if we dip down into this area location-wise, I can seriously think about buying some Bitcoins and risking against this bottom. But up here, that's a red box. No, that's wrong. You can't be a buyer there. I hope I can get that message across. Oh, I just got another downvote. Thank you. Thank you. Come again. Although I have no idea why you people come here if you're going to downvote this. There's no charge. You don't have to watch this video. I'm not holding a gun to your head. I don't get it. You don't have to be here. But oh well. It is what it is. I actually like the idea just in the short term that we're stuck in what we call a moving average sandwich. Nom, 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 nom. This is a daily price chart, so I do like the idea that you can see on the dailies, the moving average is turned up bullishly right here. This, I gotta say, man, that was one hell of a reversal bar in there. Didn't quite paint a key reversal for me. I would add to like to have the open down here below this low, but it was a candle, like a candle body reversal bar. Gee whiz, that was a powerful signal. Market moves up. We talked about Wyckoff checks. Interesting how that was also a check of the fast moving average. So here we are checking that fast moving average again. I think Julian even mentioned in his recent report, what is the direction of the market right now? I think the direction is still up. I just think we got maybe a little too far too fast. I think you can make the argument now, and actually somebody was even asking about this in a classroom earlier. Again, all I want to do is just listen to the market's message. You can see where reload zones are down here. I like that level. And I also like the idea of the market coming in. Look at that huge muwak right there. And of course, that's off the original bottom. But what I like to do at this point here right now is, moving averages are still pointing up on the dailies. Yes, we ran into a brick wall on resistance on the upside. So right now, what I have to do, if I'm thinking about a trade, is, I could take this short off of this reload short zone, 200 period moving average tag, mountain man, reloads, original market structure, top, yada, 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 and just live with the results on that trade. That's not really my style. I prefer for us to get into a location, then see signs of some sort of internal measures that were breaking down, i.e. divergence, those kind of things. Remember that RSI study I walked you through? RSI internal indicators right now are just simply saying that the bull is on pause. We haven't broken down yet. And really, if you're going to use a tool like the fib tool to help you, this is where our 38.2 Ray Burchett level really helps. Where he simply said, you cannot judge the health of a market, whether it's still a bull or it's transitioned into bear in this case, until this 38.2 level has actually been resolved. And usually what ends up happening is it ends up looking something like this. And we have consolidation, and then the resolution, either up or down, will tell us where to go next. So, yeah, you're right. Goddamn Mountain Man guy. It makes you sick. Funny thing is with Mountain is that I bet you he has no interest in Bitcoin whatsoever, and he's still making money, the son of a bitch. Anyway, that's just being silly. So that's kind of where we are right now. Hats off to anybody who had the kahunas to step in. Of course, reload zones within reload zones. I've talked lots about that in the past. Green boxes, super sexy. Dollar cost averagers, fine. Nanny nibblers, fine. Colleen was showing a really interesting little nanny nibbler. Nothing wrong with that at all. If you get down in at or below reload zones. Trading setups. I think we talked lots about this W over the time. If you are in that long trade, and I think that looks something like this. You know, this big honkin' setup is looking for a serious test of this high way up top here. It's interesting how this particular setup, 50% of that move is so close. I like the idea that, you know, if you are in a winning trade and you want to pay yourself for taking this amount of risk, hats off to you. That's what shows the sign of a pro, and you just live with the results. I would say, though, that on a position like this, and I said this the last week, don't let this winning trade turn into a losing trade. You know, you might look at this and say, you know what, because of 200 SMA, because of Mountain Man, I'm just going to tighten up stops. And, you know, maybe if we lose this key support level here, you can see the market's really testing it. I'm just going to walk away and boom, you would have been stopped out. I really wouldn't have a problem with that. If you look back in hindsight and you force yourself to take these kind of trays, more times often than not, it's obviously, you know, in this case, your account balance is going up. That's good positive karma. There's nothing wrong with that. And my hunch is you just wait patiently for another W and you might be able to sneak in and actually even be able to get even a bit more of this. I actually do like the idea of us working up top here. You might even say to me, you know, Brian, I don't want to stress too much about this. I bought the W. I'm looking for a rally up top into that happening event. I do understand you say don't let a winning trade turn into a losing trade. I'm just going to move my stop to scratch. That would basically be exactly what I was saying last week. And I'm just going to live with the results. And yeah, I've got a big open potential profit position right now, but it's just a paper profit. It doesn't really mean anything. And you might even argue if price has to dip down below here, well, it's just a paper loss. Until we actually break these lows, it's just paper. It doesn't really mean anything. And, you know, if anything, level 2, we teach you about volume profile and Guy Hogue. In fact, actually, everybody who's fancies themselves, I think I like the idea that first thing Monday morning, we all have to crash Top Step's morning wake-up call. I think it's at about 5 o'clock Pacific time, a.m., of course. So if you fancy yourself a trader, I want to see all TRIers in that call. And let's all give Hogue a good morning, good luck kiss. First thing Monday morning, it'll totally blow him away. And I like that as a good sort of habit for all, because I got to tell you, my last week, my trading was, I had a lot of fun. You go look at my tweets. We had some really big movers past week. And that's just a good habit to get into. First thing Monday morning, you got to go in and join John in the broadcast. Usually I put it in the lounge, Colleen. I mean, I follow them on Twitter. So in my hey, Kavark. There's our CTO, Stuart. God, this guy's such a brilliant programmer. He's the guy. He's the brains behind all this shit. So everybody give Stuart a big hug and kiss. Awesome guy. I gave him hugs and kisses this morning. He's such a cute programmer, right? Stuart, I love you. Only programmers would get this joke. You're adorable. But what I wanted to say was I get a notification from these guys whenever they launch a new broadcast. So they just I just look at my notifications for the link. Where is that, Colleen? Yeah, right here. Top Step started a broadcast. So I don't know. Do you do the Twitter thing? There's Hogue. And you know, it's so cool, right? There's Hogue. Let's see if we can get a nice
pretty decent
shot.
Recovery by the
There's
end
a face
of the
shot.
day, though.
Oh, damn it. Come on.
The
There we go. All right. So check this out. There's Hogue. And this guy's 34-year pit veteran. I mean, he's God. But there's his picture. Now check out the picture I used for Hogue on the Trading View, and you tell me if the similarities are coincidence or not. Actually, here we'll use the T-bonds here. So if I was looking at T-bonds, I don't know, something like this, I would put an icon. I would say this is the Hogue value trade, where he's shorting above value. Now you tell me, there's the icon for, what is that? That's like an internet icon or something like that, right? And there is Hogue. You tell me. Similarity is pretty close, eh? That's why I love the using that icon. That's why when I found it, I was like, that is so Hogue. Well, I don't know. We could make them brown. We could make them red. It's up to you. Anyway, so that's Hogue. Colleen, does that help? Do you do the Twitter thing? Do you just... I'll try and post this in the lounge first thing tomorrow morning. Okay, well, so then just follow at Top Step Trader, and as prop firm goes, I have to say these guys, they're pretty good. I've worked at a lot of different prop firms over the years. Some prop firms, they are just the biggest jerks in the world. Hogue is just an absolute sweetheart. It's one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet in the futures trading industry. I would highly, highly recommend that you listen to him. So, all TS, what the hell are we? TRIers? Let's go and crash Hogue's broadcast tomorrow morning, because last Monday there was a bunch of us there, and they were like, what the hell's going on in our chat room on Google? So that was a lot of fun. Okay, so, I mean, I don't mean to be sort of raining on people's parade here. Yeah, pretty early, Colleen. You're on the wet coast here, aren't you? So that's sort of what I'm seeing for the corn is, and it's interesting, head and shoulders objectives. I think you can actually make the argument that fractal objective was hit here. I think you can make the argument that there were bull AB equals CDs. I don't know whether those objectives were hit here on stamp, but hopefully everybody can see that. If we go AB, maybe they haven't been hit. Ooh, still floating out there. All right, so here's another reason why we could see very easily through like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They might not be done here. So moving average sandwich. 13 EMAs can act as support in the short term. I can see that, 38.2, I don't really like the idea of the market topping here. I think there was just so much technical resistance up here that you just had to look for something to break. And I wouldn't be surprised if we drilled down to hourly charts and stuff. We actually started getting divergences building up here. Which, on balance, when maybe you're a bull, you're looking at that, I'm a bull, Bitcoin, happening, I'm a bull. When you look at and you see on the lower time frames, you see the divergences, really all you got to do is just simply say, all right, got to cool my jets. It's just that simple. Oh, that's an interesting one. B2, Badsia says 8.5 weeks more until it potentially could hit that 50% level in 50% time. So it sounds to me like B2 is a fan of good old WD Gann, eh? Are you thinking like 50% down here? How would we do that? Is this that's a daily chart, eh? Or are you thinking back up top? Yeah, the 50% level still. Yeah, okay. So remember we were showing, I guess, off of which chart was it? One of these charts we had that. Yeah, that long setup looking for targets up top there. So that target up there is like 11,000, and your 50% rule there was where was it? Oh, Jesus. Sorry, guys. 10,162. I don't see any reason why we can't. Like I said just a moment ago, it just felt like we went too far too fast. I think I even put a tweet out, holy crap, this thing's moving quick. So CME options are now here. Did we get any? We didn't. Oh, so we got this M that came in RSI. So bull, you officially are on pause. anybody hunting setups, and I think we sort of said lower time frames, people that were botting, I think they politely were told, move your stop to trailing. We started breaking key support. Maybe just take your profits and cool your jets. Especially with this cute little RSI divs. You don't get RSI divs every day. So, is that one there? Yeah, it is. So there was an RSI M div right there. And of course, that's what had to follow afterward. Notice we came right back down against the key lows. So little RSI M div 2. Maybe we have to come back down. I've already painted my reload zone within reload zone green box. If we're lucky, this just turns into nothing more than a new bot setup, right? So we'll go like 1 low, 2 lows. If we turn back up here, 3 lows, and then big honking ABCD takes us way up top here. Right? So, and that would hit those 50% levels. And like you said, that time window, let's see where GAN would want that. So we went from date range, and I love the fact that you guys are picking up on this stuff. I tell you, nobody else on the internet talks this way. Maybe that Philby guy. Is he still here? Alright, so what is a half of 175 is what? 80, 90, 90, 86, 85, something like that. 80, yeah, something like that. So that would put us right about the middle of March. Actually, and that makes sense too. Because I often see that crypto loves to rally into that March time period. But then you notice, and I don't know whether it's right around Easter, but I've noticed year in, year out, crypto usually takes a really nasty pause right around Easter. Have you guys noticed that? To me, I don't know whether we can see that in years gone by. Maybe this could be a bit of that kind of conversation. In this case, maybe we pop up here and then just go sideways through that time period. I noticed that March, especially the altcoins, they get their butts kicked right after there's almost like a little trap that they lay. And, you're thinking March, April, all right, we're ready to rock and roll. And then every April, it's like, boom, and they get whacked. So I actually, I like that. That makes sense. I like that objective up in there. So, there you go. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Happy New Year. Maybe we just surge our way up into here. I don't really have any signals per se here. All I would just simply say is if you're, if you're thinking up and you're thinking bull, I think at the very least, the bulls have just been told, okay, guys, just cool your jets. All right. And ironically enough, actually, I don't really have a problem working stink bids down here. Crypto kids aren't going to like that if it does dump all the way down here. My hunch is it won't, but that's just my opinion. Opinions don't really mean that much in this game. So, all right. So just to finish off, like I said earlier, getting just the most beautiful little setups, and I guess it makes a lot of sense given seasonality. And I didn't even clue in that this was Doge. But, this is just yet another example of these coins all bottoming through, buy when it snows, right? That kind of talk. And the interesting thing about this kind of guy is that they're going to have a big, group orgy coming this summer. So are they gonna want the orgy with an uppy happy market so that they can pay for it? Are they gonna want the market down and sanguine and depressed and everybody at the orgy just sitting there limp? That was terrible. I'm sorry. So I mean, the irony of it all is this is just capitalism 101. Probably guys are getting ready to buy this thing now because they want to be long into the event. So, I guess the big thing that jumps out at me is that thank you, Sjord. Hugs and kisses. You've now given me a tool inside TRI that I can just simply go and mine this stuff on a daily basis. So excited. Okay, so I don't know. Did any of you guys over on YouTube get any value out of that today? Was there anything that I said that was helpful? It's already afternoon. I have to go get all pretty for the boy here. As I had sort of said, whoa, what's going on this? Peter, what's this? Peter Schiff forgot his password? Oh man. Peter Schiff says, I just lost all the Bitcoin I ever owned. My wallet got corrupted somehow and my password is no longer valid. Well, doesn't that seem absolutely incredibly appropriate? Well, hell, Colleen, if you can wrap your head around this, that guy's just an idiot. And if anything, I hope that didn't come across wrong. Did that come across bad? I'm sorry if it didn't. But that was meant as a compliment. Anyway. All right, so the guys in the lounge are having fun talking about that. Thank you, Stuart. Okay. All right, everybody. You have to read comments to that tweet. I bet they were pretty good. All right, guys. All right, I'm going to leave it at that for today. I hope you got some good value out of this offering. I've given you some ideas. Frankly speaking, I think Bitcoin did have a really nice run up, and we ought to probably all cool our jets down. Let price consolidate a little bit, and keep hunting those setups because they're coming in on a daily basis. I'm not going to give a big pitch for the school because, frankly speaking, you missed it. I will say, though, that for this upcoming term, I will be a little bit more proactive in getting the raffle going. There were a bunch of people that did ask to be in the raffle. I kind of half-assed it this term, so we'll be a little bit more proactive for you next term. So, okay, guys, have yourselves a great rest of your day. Isn't that interesting? We had 2 dislikes earlier, and that went down to 1 dislike. So I didn't know you were allowed to take away dislikes. So that's not bad. Yeah, Bob. That's pretty good. I don't know what the ratio is. What's a good ratio? What's a bad ratio? All I really hope, to be honest with you guys, is that you feel as though you actually learned something. Oh, I didn't know that before. Oh, no, I've never seen that before. That's the whole point of doing this, right? So have yourselves a great day. Welcome aboard all the new level 1 students. Take advantage of this Sunday, dovetail with your class to make sure that all your questions about specific week's material is covered. And let's get out there and have some fun because I think this is a totally awesome market. So, all right, guys, all the best and toodaloo. Oh, sorry. Bye for now. Bye.